Hi there, Diane Evans here with StampinWithDiane.com. I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up demonstrator. So if this is your first time coming to my YouTube channel, make sure that you do subscribe to it. Now that subscribe button is down below. And basically also if you hit the bell, you'll also get notified every time that I upload a new video. Now today what I want to do is I want to show you a thank you card that I made, or I've made for my February thank yous to my customers. And this is the card, very simple card, but it uses this gorgeous Fine Art Floral Suite and this art gallery bundle. Now remember, the bundle comes with stamp sets and it also comes with dies. And when you do buy it together, you save 10%. Now, I've used an awful lot of other things from this suite, and I'll show you those as we go along. But the one big thing with this suite is the gilded leafing. Now, when you get this from Stampin' Up, what happens is it comes in a plastic bag, and you'll be thankful that it does, especially if your package or your thing does break. This stuff is very, very light, and it tends to fly everywhere. So what I do with this is I put it into a large container, and even at that I do have it going all over the place. But the large container, you can control a lot of the flying around in the container itself. And the other part that goes along with that is this heat and stick powder. Now Stampin' Up has had this heat and stick powder many times in the past. And it used to be used with glitter, but this is what helps stick this onto your paper. And we're also going to do another technique with it as well. Now, this Art Gallery stamp set is a two-step stamp set, and I'll show you how that works as we go along. So I'm going to get started on this card. And we're going to use, let's see, there's going to be Pretty Peacock. There's Pool Party, and there's also Mossy Meadow, or the stamp sets, and we're also going to be using a Versamark as well, and that's for the heat and stick. So let's get the stamping done for this particular card. Now, all my paper here. I have a piece of Pool Party. Now this Pool Party, just put these off to the side here. This Pool Party is measured at 5.5 by 8.5. I have gone ahead and scored it at 4 1/4 this way, and then I turned it and scored it at 2 1/8. And by doing that, I end up and I get the nice even edges along there. So I'm just going to come in with my bone folder and get a good crease down on there. I also have a piece of Pretty Peacock, and I've run this Pretty Peacock through the painted textured 3D embossing folder. This is such a beautiful deep textured type embossing folder, and it could be used for masculine and feminine cards alike. Now, because it is such a deep embossed folder, I'm going ahead and I'm attaching it to the front of my card with glue. And that will give me it'll give me wiggle room. Plus two, it goes into those creases there and allows for it to really stick down to the cardstock itself. So like I say, by using the glue, I also have a bit of a chance to do a bit of wiggle room on it, just to make sure that we've got it good and straight. There we go. And then I'll just sort of burnish that down so that it stays there. Now I have a piece of scrap white, basic white. And what this is good for is we're going to be doing some of our stamping on there. Now I want to get, in particular, I want to get the flower done because of what we're doing to get the heat or to get the gold leafing to stick. I need to use Versamark over top of that. So I want to make sure that this is good and dry. So when you do a two-step stamping, you always want to start with the lightest color first and the more solid image. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that. And you notice I'm using the paper piercing mat, and that's because it's a photopolymer stamp set, and I want it to stamp directly. I want it to stamp evenly on there. Now the second part of this image is the second part of the two-step, and I'm going to use Pretty Peacock on that particular one. And let's see, just going to go down here, and you don't have to get everything lined up perfectly, because this gives you the art feel of this particular bundle and image itself. So I'm just going to go clean that off, because I'm going to need that later on for the embossing powder. Now I also want to do the leaves while I'm here doing the stamping, and I'm going to stamp the leaves in Mossy Meadow. And we'll just put that there. Now I'm just going to let that sit just a little bit longer, because I do want to make sure that that's good and dry. I could take my heat tool and dry that off as well, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let it air dry a bit there. Okay, now we are going to put this onto there. We're going to put the image onto the front of the card. And another thing that we're actually going to do is I'm going to have to go and cut these dies out. Now I've gone ahead and already cut out the green leaf, so I'll leave that. Once this is dried just a bit more, that's when I'm going to go with the Versamark and go ahead and do it with the gold leafing. Now on one of my cards, I also cut out from these dies, there's this label. And this label is good for all these littler images or words on sentiments on there. And then there's the larger one for the longer sentiments. Now normally, or what you could do, you could also do this with the gold leafing. But this is how it looked with the gold leafing. And you tend not to have a real equal stamping with it. So I decided I was going to end up just doing this part with gold embossing powder. So because I am using embossing powder, I'm going in with my embossing buddy. This is a retired item, but you can make your own embossing buddy by putting cornstarch into something. Now I have this thank you, because they're for my thank you cards, and I'm just going to go in with my Versamark. Just going to, can't even see through that. Okay, we hope we got that in the right spot. Oh, it's not great, but you know what, I'm going to do it this way, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So just dipping it into my gold embossing powder, and then I'm going to go and heat set this. All right, so just bringing in my take your pick tool. Just going to hold it down, and then I'm bringing in my heat tool. And because this is such a small amount, it's not going to take very long to do at all. Remember, don't take your gun and run it like that. You're just going to just take it and just do it till the end. There we go. Now this one isn't very even, but I do happen to have one that is more even, which we will use. So I've actually got that there. All right, so now I think I'm ready to go ahead and do this part here. So we've got those two there. Now, with this particular part, I'm coming back in with that one that I did my two-step with. The second layer, the one with the Pretty Peacock. Now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to ink this up. And now I'm going to go a little bit off-centered, off to where I did put that Pretty Peacock. Just going to go down with it. And my heat and stick, I've also put into one of these bins. So I'm just going to go in there. And you can always tell that you're in the heat and stick part because there is a bit of an odor to this, the heat and stick powder that's on there. All right. Now I'm just going to go in with my heat tool. And I'm going to heat from the bottom. And this is not like, see how it's just that dull thing is just making it go a bit shiny. And that is what gives me the stick for my, my gold leafing. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that into, just going to get this out of the way. I'm going to just bring this in. And then I'm just going to put this into here like so. Really that simple that I'm doing. And then I'm keeping this over top of the bin and I'm coming in with a sponge. Now I did have my sponge there, so I'm just going to actually use this other one. And now all you do is you just take this and we're just going to rub this off. This one's better than the last one I did. I didn't want too much of this on there. I just wanted a tiny little bit. I wanted that look of imperfection. And I don't mean that like imperfection as far as the art part goes. And now I'll just bring in my little mini cut and emboss. And just put this here, bring out the die. And we're just going to cut that part out. Now, the magnetic plate, we don't have the magnetic plate for this yet. So I am using my, is that even? My Post-it note tape. And then we're just going to run that through. Oops. All right. So just take that off, take my tape off. And I just put it onto my cut and emboss there, just so that I can use it for next time. These all away. Now we can go ahead and we can start putting the card together. So I have the oval here. I've got this part here. I've also got my leaves here, and I've got this thank you part as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use some dimensionals. So let's put some on the back of these. Yes, I do use a fair amount of dimensionals, but I find that they, it really is nice for it to have it pop up. Now, because this is small, I'm going to also, I just went and I put 2 dimensionals, and they were the black dimensionals, and I put them off to the left side there. All right, so we'll just bring in our Take Your Pick tool again. Now I'm putting the leaves down first because the flower is going over top of it, right? So there. Let's take these off. Oops. There we go. And we'll put our flower in over top. Like I say, there's not a lot of the gold on there, but I'm okay with that. I'd rather there be not too much gold, and then that it just sort of gives an accent of it. Now I'm going ahead and I'm also putting this down onto this part of the cardstock here. I am going to use, again, I'm going to use my liquid glue. So I'm just going to put that down on this part here because I want that to stick to that embossed area. So just like that. A little bit of wiggle room. And then I'm just going to take these off and put this on there. So like I say, these are my thank you notes for my customers for the month of February. Now, there is one other thing that I'm going to go ahead and do. Just bringing in my silicone mat, and I am going to put this down here, and then, because I'm going to actually put a piece of tear and tape across here. So I'm just taking off my tear and tape, and I'm going to lay it down about there. Hopefully that is straight. And I'm going to come in and trim that. There. And let's trim this side as well. Now, I leave these blank all the time. I could actually even just put a part of an image on here, like just with a Versamark or a water image. But what I want to do is, this is up to them for what they want to do with their own cards. I leave all the thank you cards blank. All right, so I'm just burnishing that. I'm going to go in and take this off. Remove this. And then let's come in. Oops. With this. Just going to put that down in there. And now back with my sponge. Just going to take off some of this gold leafing. It will stick, so I say put a bit of force on there and get off all that remainder, because you don't want that on your card. You just want that piece of gold that's down there. Let's just move that out of the way very carefully. And there's my card there. Now, I really still think that it needs a tiny bit of bling on there. So I'm thinking maybe what I might do is I might put some of the gilded gems on there. So I have some of those here. And let's see what they'll look like on the card. Just kind of take your pick tool. So let's just, these ones might be a bit too big. Let's just see how this is going to work. One there. Go there. And then maybe let's just come in here, and we can even put a piece right down here. You know what? I don't like that particular one. I think I'm going to just bring this one in a little bit. Let's see. Let's put it about there. And then let's just put this one over just a tiny bit. Or we could even do it there. That would work as well. All right. So there's my card. This is my thank you card. Oh, no, you know what? I forgot one more thing that actually goes with this. Is there's the beautiful ribbon. This ribbon here, it's a gold ribbon. So all I'm going to do, this frays really easily, just to let you know. I'm just going to tie that in a knot. Tie it tight. And then I'm coming in with my ribbon scissors. And that's just there. There. And then I'm just going to put this right here for the bow. I'll come in with my glue dots. So you can see I've used quite a bit from this particular suite. Just put that on the back of that bow there. And then let's put that bow there. So there's my card. So I hope you like that. Now, if you did like that, give me the thumbs up. If you have any questions, by all means, ask. I go to my YouTube channel quite often and answer the questions that are on there. Also, if you do live in Canada, or yeah, if you do live in Canada, I'd love to be your demonstrator. I have a host code that I have that I change quite periodically, actually. But I have a very generous hostess reward program. Plus, I also give out tutorials each and every month. So, you know, I'd like to, I love to give stuff away. So anyways, check that out also on my blog. All these measurements are on my blog. There is a link down below with all the measurements as well. So don't forget, subscribe to my video channel. Bye for now, everybody.